Minecraft has been around for over a tenth of a century now, and it's been given tons of different features over the years. Most of them have been kept, and a few of them altered, but there have been a significant amount of features that were outright removed from the craft. Today, we'll look at the history of some of these features, from shrubs that would crash your game, to whatever the heck this is, to literal hell mode. This is Minecraft's history of removed features. I hope you enjoy, and please do consider subscribing. A lot of Minecraft's removed features were added really early on, so let's start at the beginning. Minecraft Survival Test, or Classic, the first edition of the game. On September 1st, 2009, when the Survival Test first came out, you could reproduce asexually by pressing G. This would be very helpful in real life and save me a lot of rejection. Whenever you press G, you would summon human clones of yourself that would run around randomly and flail their arms, similar to real-life humans. Back in the day, the old noises for fall damage made it seem like you fractured 10 ribs and dislocated both of your hips whenever you fell 2 blocks down. At some point, these sounds were swapped out as to not terrify the more elderly fanbase though. The old damage noise was also a reference to the up-and-coming game at the time, Roblox. The first armor added to Minecraft was called plate armor. It has this bland white texture whose file was later removed and never added for the player, only to appear on mobs. Creepers, perhaps most famous for their signature explosions, used to not explode at all. Sort of. Instead, they actually had a melee attack and would awkwardly jump at you, dealing 2 hearts of damage per hit. It was only once you killed them that they would actually explode upon dying. Added in InDev was the gear block. Notch may have had some plans for it, but it remained purely aesthetic during its time in Minecraft, even bugging out when you tried to break it. It would spin around and around, but other than that it really didn't do anything. It was around this time that the extremely strange recipe for chainmail armor was introduced, using not chains, but actual fire. Fire used to be an item you could actually summon in with commands, but when it was removed in 1.8, this weird crafting recipe was deleted with it. Previously, you could get infinite water and lava source blocks, which you could place around the world. Instead of flowing normally, these would multiply and continue spreading until they hit a wall. How in the world did Notch think this was going to be a good idea? I mean, look at this mess. One day, Mojang decided to bless its player base by adding Steve, Beast Boy, Black Steve, and a female Rana as mobs into the game. These would do what you expect from such divine beings and run around aimlessly while frozen in the same single pose. They were removed 2 days later. Now, you can do what you've always wanted to and become a female yourself. But did you know that you could also add player stats? In your inventory menu, you can find your character's attack, defense, and speed attributes. That meant absolutely nothing. On January 7th, 2010, while the game was still in InDev, you could choose a few different places to spawn in. One of these pre-built maps was straight up titled Hell. All water was replaced with lava, grass replaced with dirt, lighting was dimmed and tinted, mobs would spawn 24/7, farming was slowed down, it was chaotic. This preset was left behind when the game updated out of InDev, but set the foundation for the nether dimension we have now. Since January 14th, you would now spawn in a starter house. Originally, it was this rundown shack made of mossy cobblestone and tons of OP loot, but it eventually became a more cozy wooden hut. The old design, though, became the inspiration for the dungeons we see in present-day Minecraft. Overgrown wheat would crash your game. Yeah, at the time, wheat had unused stages that would try to pull textures from other blocks, which would result in several bugs that would crash any unsuspecting player. Rumors began circulating that this was Notch's secret way to test out chair models, but he never confirmed this, and the overgrown wheat was eventually removed from the game. Picture this, you're exploring your world, enjoying the comic soundtracks, you look over a small hill, and boom, an enormous 32 block tall, 63 by 63 brick pyramid. And the best part? It's completely useless. No interior, no purpose, just a massive pyramid in the middle of your world. Not a fan? Well, picture this. You're exploring your world, enjoying the calming soundtracks, you look over a small hill, and boom! A random obsidian wall just stretching endlessly to the world border. And the best part? You guessed it, it's completely useless. Nothing on the other side, nothing underneath, just a long wall in the middle of your world. Don't like that? Well, picture that. Okay, I'll stop. You're exploring the world, enjoying the calming soundtracks, you look over a small hill, and boom! A massive 128 block tall trypophobia-inducing nightmare wall full of gouges and sprawling tunnels as far as the eye can see. The Farlands. The Farlands are one of the best visual demonstrations of code failing and numbers overflowing. They're beautiful, scary, and a haunting feature of Minecraft that was left behind when the glitch causing them was fixed. Am I taking this joke too far? Absolutely yes. Giant, sprawling platforms shooting out of the ground all the way to build height for no reason. These were the monoliths. More examples of code failing resulting in wacky terrain generation all over your world. There was also a feature that used to let you spawn f***ing Nether Portals by pressing F4. I mean, that's amazing. Why did they ever remove that? We're in beta now, and Notch started off the new year of 2011 by accidentally introducing negative cake. How this happened is pretty unknown, but while you can normally eat 7 slices, now for whatever reason, you can have 15 slices of cake. The 7th bite, instead of removing the cake entirely, turns it completely 2D, and every bite from 8 to 15 inverts the cake and makes it fold in on itself. While this feature was in the game, it had many changes on how the negative cake slices actually appeared. Some of the slices grew grass and mold, which is disgusting, some folded in on themselves and looked like comparators, and others moved to the entirely next block over. All of which is bizarre and incredible. As a result of leftover code, you used to be able to control time with F6 and F7. This doesn't sound so cool, but actually looks incredible and smooth when you do it in-game. It's so fun. Sadly, this awesome feature was removed a week later. Until this point, whenever Notch died, he would drop an apple, even if he didn't have one on him. Why? Who knows? A bunch of weird, unbrewable placeholder potions were added. Everything from the suave potion, to the bulky potion, to the stinky and debonair potion. Like, what? These could be obtained with commands and did absolutely nothing except for have awesome names. Glass pillars used to just spawn straight up on top of strongholds to mark their location. This feature was removed when the Eye of Ender was added, although imagine how this would affect speedrunning if it was still a thing. On the 10th of May 2012, cocoa beans were added using the dragon egg texture, and just like overgrown wheat, they had a few overgrown phases themselves that when loaded into the world would of course crash your game. Enchanted golden apples were also added, sometimes referred to as notch apples or god apples depending on how sweaty you are. They were crafted with 8 gold blocks around an apple and would yield incredible effects. Regeneration 2, Absorption 4, Fire Resistance for 5 minutes. They were so overpowered in fact, they got removed from the game. While the crafting recipe was removed, yeah, the item itself actually remained, and can be found in many loot chests in various structures. It's January 3rd in 2013, and summoning directionless hoppers with commands would crash your game. This feature was actually so bad, there was a chance you couldn't even reclaim your world once you summoned in one of these bad boys. Green shrubs were a block that would change their color based on what biome they were in. They would also sometimes crash your game. In April, saddles and horse armor were added with their own crafting recipes. This lasted for about a month until saddles were straight up removed and horse armor had its crafting recipe taken away. Saddles were of course later re-added, but without the crafting recipe. I have no idea why Mojang did this, and it would have been way more convenient to be able to craft these items. Enabling super secret settings would play a randomly pitched sound and apply a random shader onto your screen. A lot of these are really trippy and fun to explore, with some blurring your screen, changing the colors, flipping it upside down, and making you feel like you're on drugs. Weird for sure, but I still don't know why they were removed. In October was perhaps one of the best features of the history of Minecraft, and I have no idea why it was removed. Okay, I have some idea. A code error resulted in almost every block being able to render inside of a flower pot. This glitch is frankly hilarious and amazing to look at. There are tons of funny block models and even a deeper glitch that could result in dead versions of the blocks, where the texture is fully grayed out. Here are a few of my favorite examples, but there are really a ton of awesome ones to look through. Using commands, you used to be able to summon six-sided blocks, like sticky pistons and pistons that did nothing when they were powered. This feature was later removed in 1.8, but was kind of re-added in 1.14 with six-sided wood blocks. On February 14th, 2014, 1.7.10's release, dispensers were given the ability to place down command blocks when powered. This borderline overpowered feature caused many security issues on servers though, and was removed shortly after it was added. Hostile mobs used to run away from creepers that were about to explode. However, since every game tick every mob alive would have to search for an exploding creeper to run from, this would obviously cause tons of lag, and was removed. When they were first added in 1.10, strays used to shoot arrows of slowness that had a different data value than the actual craftable arrow of slowness. As such, if you picked up the stray arrow and crafted your own, you would have two different types of the same arrow. Eventually, they were made the same and the stray type was removed. Until October 25th, 2017, you had the ability to view Minecraft in 3 dimensions. Even though it is a 3D game. There was a 3D Anaglyph mode that would change the screen to have red and cyan undertones, so if you had a spare pair of 3D glasses, you could be more immersed in your game. However, this was removed in 1.13 for seemingly no reason. On June 18th, 2020, in 1.16, a whole bunch of splash texts were removed from Minecraft. One of my favorite removed splash texts was "Lewd with 2 dudes with food," a line from a song by Flight of the Conchords. Not surprised that one got removed. But with all of that said, those are some of Minecraft's removed features, and it's cool to look back and see how many of them actually shape the way the game is now. And in actuality, this is only a really small portion of all the features. There are tons more features that were removed from the craft, but I only chose the most interesting ones, because had I covered all of them, this video would be way too long. But I really hope you enjoyed this recap of some of the removed features from Minecraft. Removed. Just like the outro of this